All right. Looks like everything is coming up and we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, just sitting here. Thought I would discuss some world events with you guys and gals, do a Q&A, spend some time with my lovely people this afternoon. Well, let's get over into this topic. First of all, your mom took Tylenol. All right, I'm going to be using that a whole lot because I always tell those your mom jokes that people, it's coming. Like I'm going to have so much material from this. All right, I'll entertain your questions, your comments, your Q&As once we get this topic out of the way. Apparently, this is a big point of controversy. It came up in my coffee chat this morning. People were like, hey, coach, Trump administration is saying Tylenol causes autism. Well, I went and researched it. And lo and behold, there is absolutely a major study linking it. Like major meta-analysis has found an extremely strong correlation with it. Actually, it turns out it's massive. Now, what some of the experts have said on it is, hey, we don't have causation. Like it's a little bit soon to jump at something like that and say this is causing it. And I think that's fair. But what they found is that a number of over-the-counter painkillers do contribute in utero, absolutely contribute to various neurodivergence, particularly things on the autism spectrum. And they determined that Tylenol had the strongest correlation. So particularly using it for any extended periods of time, there was actually a meta-analysis on this. And I mean, this is not controversial. This is not like some fringe thing. I saw some stuff linked like with Harvard's actual nutrition department. They did a write-up saying, there's definitely an extremely strong correlation. So much so that they did say, hey, we can't say it causes it based upon this. There's just not enough evidence. But the correlation is strong enough that we would caution pregnant women against using Tylenol while they're pregnant, like especially for any extended period of time. They're like, because there's definitely a strong link. So, it's not like this came out of left field. So again, there's people jumping up saying, oh, it's crazy with this. Yeah, but it didn't just come out of nowhere. And so when the leading nutrition researchers are saying, there's definitely a possible link, we need to be cautious here. We need to warn, expectant mothers to be very careful here. What are we supposed to say? And here's the crazy thing with it. You're seeing some of these responses. I had someone tell me in my other thing that there's people on the far left TikToks and stuff who are taking a bunch of Tylenol and protest over it being due to Trump. And it's like, guys, what are you doing? This isn't his thing. Like, he didn't come up with this. This was actually a meta-analysis showing an extremely strong correlation. Again, not proving causation. It's not showing, hey, it causes it, but there's an extremely strong link, and it's enough to be a concern. Plus, by that same token, we know Tylenol is not good for you. In fact, just a warning, that's one of the most horrible things people try to OD on when they off themselves. Tylenol is actually a really, really, really bad way to go out. Like Tylenol overdose is not a good way to go. Don't do it. And that's actually, I knew someone who was an ICU nurse who talked about it in detail before too, of they'd had a couple of different patients because it was here in Houston who had attempted, that they attempted to get rid of themselves by taking too much Tylenol. And they're like, man, it's a crappy way to go. They're like, it's a painful death. So it's like, Tylenol definitely a problem. And too much Tylenol is absolutely, wonder which pain reliever, fever reducers recommended for pregnant women. I don't know, Mosh. I absolutely don't know. What's up, Coach? What's going on, Rodney? We're just talking about this whole breaking news with this because it's all over the news and people are trying to protest. And it's silly because Matthew, what he said for anything else is irrelevant. I'm not aware of him saying that, but it's really kind of contrary to the whole point, right? Because the point is this came from a major meta-analysis absolutely linking these things. Like there was an extremely strong correlation. They didn't prove it, but it is enough, right? it is enough of a correlation that we need to be concerned. Like I literally saw a write-up from Harvard's nutrition department on this, warning, saying, yeah, the correlation is strong enough to be a concern. They're like, so they cautioned pregnant women against using Tylenol for any sort of extended period of time, just because they're like, well, not only that, there's other health risks too. So it's not like, even though this made the news, it's not like he made this up or this came out of left field or this didn't come from actual real researchers. So let's just be aware. So this is not a case of where you can jump at him personally over it. Does that make sense? Because this is not his idea. This is actually from legitimate mainstream research and meta-analysis is drawing this link, right? So just be aware, guys. So then it's also crazy that you're seeing people that some of it on TikTok and stuff, right? That there then is a rebuttal against, because they hate, Orange Man bad, that they're taking a bunch of Tylenol, which is stupid. It's stupid. Like Tylenol overdose is deadly and it's a really painful death. Let me be clear. Tylenol overdose is not, hey, you just go to sleep and you don't feel any pain. It's actually ironic. It's a painkiller that if you overdose on, you have an extremely painful death. Like it actually hurts a lot, apparently. Again, like people need to have some common sense, but Sirloin to the course and make it sound like he's claiming if you take too much Tylenol, you'll catch it. No, it was data on in utero. It's about pregnant women, right? So, but again, we don't have causation. But yeah, let's come over, Richard. Tylenol is liver toxic. So yeah, what happens in a Tylenol overdose is that it destroys your liver. And I heard it firsthand from an ICU nurse who watched a patient die in there who had overdosed on Tylenol intentionally. And she said, man, it was bad. Like she goes, it was a bad death. Hey, AMC, that's not what the leading researchers are saying. They're saying there absolutely is a link, right? Absolutely is a link in utero. It was studies of pregnant women. So this has nothing to do with Trump, but everyone is trying to spin it as Trump. But I mean, AMC, did you not see the stuff, Harvard's nutrition? I'll link it to you later. I'll go find it for you. No, even Harvard's nutrition department has cautioned pregnant women on this one, right? And they even said there's not necessarily causation. They're saying it's a strong enough correlation that we need to be concerned and be cautious. So, Now, that being said, I am not an expert in neonatal nutrition. Hey, Richard, I don't know that it really is exploding. That's subject to a great deal of debate. Let me put it this way. We weren't looking for it in the past. So if you're not looking for any sort of condition, especially like a neurodivergent condition, you're not going to find it. Yeah, the documented cases are going up because it's been trending and it's something people are actively looking for. There could be some overdiagnosis. They could be including a lot of different stuff into the spectrum, going a little too. There could be a lot of that happening. But just be aware, there is that other end of the equation. But a lot of it could do with various stuff, having to do with anything in utero, environmental toxins, right? Right. Well, I haven't even looked into all their data sets. I looked into what researchers are saying, MC. But that being said, there's definitely is a link. And I think it's realistic. If look, when you literally have the Harvard nutrition department cautioning women against taking too much of it while pregnant, saying, hey, this is a cause for concern, I think you should probably pay attention. irrespective of what politicians or leaders are saying, right? I think that would be, I would be cautious. You know, I don't smoke anything ever. I'm against all smoking. Prince, I am very anti-smoking, just like I'm very anti-alcohol. Um, and I withheld putting some stuff up online still. I'm thinking about it as if I want to. Again, how do I put this? I have a whole bunch of pictures of some really tragic stuff from my personal life involving drunk drivers within the last month. Let me put it that way. So, I've withheld putting any of it up online, but it does really fit with my message of alcohol is evil. But I digress. I have chosen not to do so far. I almost did it today. But no, I don't smoke anything. Smoking in general is bad for you. You shouldn't smoke. Again, overwhelming evidence. This is not even a point of contention. Vaping is bad. Smoking cigarettes is bad. Smoking cigars is bad. Smoking weed is bad. If you feel like you need cannabinoids for some reason, there's edibles for a reason. Do not inhale it into your lungs. This isn't difficult. Why would you smoke a cigar? That is nasty, disgusting, and it will kill you. Right? Problem with the data set is lack of control. True, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't be concerned. And I'm fully aware the lack of controls, and that's why, again, the researchers just said we don't have causation. This is too I cannot type preliminary for any sort of causation to be drawn. But again, noted the correlation is strong enough that they urge caution to pregnant women, and I don't think that's hey Prince, no, I'm not interested. Thank you, but I'm not a fan of that sort of thing. But moving on, we could talk about some fitness and lifting related stuff or other world events. You guys got me in here. You got me in here for a little while this afternoon. Let's get on top of it. Let's get it done, y'all. What do we got going on? Anthony says, does low bar squat transfer to high bar? Some fitness influencers are abandoning the low bar squat. These things go in circles. It'll be next month. It'll be 6 months from now. Low bar squat will be all the rage again. Then the month after that, it'll be high bar squats, and then Zercher squats and front squats, and it's going to go in a circle, right? They got to keep you guys entertained somehow. Next week, it'll be high bar squats are killing your gains. And then the week after, low bar squats don't build quadrupeds, right? It'll always be something, dude. Fitness influencers are basically fucking idiots. And most of their audiences too, so they just say whatever stupid crap to direct the teenagers in. All right. I mean, as a demographic, many of the fitness influencers are not exactly the sharpest knife in the drawer. Pay attention. So, that being said, yes, I think they transfer to each other reasonably well. There will always be a degree of overlap because they're a similar movement pattern. Okay, we all understand this. The floor press and the bench press are very similar movement patterns. They have very strong carryover to each other. Incline bench transfers to flat bench pretty dang well. Show me any guy who can incline bench a really heavy weight who can't bench a decent, respectable amount, even if he doesn't practice the bench press, right? So again, yes, do have specificity, but absolutely, there is certainly transference between high bar and low bar, a very large degree of transference, right? Is it a perfect one-to-one? No. But take a guy who can low bar squat a really heavy weight, have him high bar squat and change his stance for 4 weeks and see how strong he is. Even if he's never done a high bar in his entire life, you show me a guy who can low bar squat 600, who's never done a high bar in his life, having to practice high bar for a few weeks and get the technique down. He'll be in the 500s guaranteed, having never done the exercise before in his life. Getting strong AF under bar transfers to other barbell lifts. I agree. I agree. And we do mean that literally. Getting really strong at good mornings will transfer to your other lifts. Getting really strong at good mornings will improve your squatting. It will improve your deadlifting. Just as a perfect example. There's an enormous amount of transfer, both in terms of muscle mass gained as well as skill transfer from simply getting used to being under a heavy bar and having a large amount of neural drive. Right? Didn't Westside Barbell prove this with the rotating max effort work every week? Not even having guys do normal back squats and then have them show up and squat 700 pounds on a meet. Do you think Ripito benefits from sticking to my way or the highway? I don't know what Ripito benefits from anymore. I like some of his philosophy, but let's be realistic. He's a diabetic alcoholic telling people to drink a gallon of milk a day and look down when they squat. No, I mean, setting that stuff aside. I don't really care what he did. Yeah, he made a whole lot of money and sold a lot of books and a lot of seminars. I think it worked out for him pretty dang well. Right? Hey, Dingleberry, I think no reason to say that. What are some signs that your body is inflamed? You can go do basic research on inflammation. Various aches and pains. Water retention. You could also just go check Google. Best way to know how inflamed you are is go get blood work and get your inflammatory markers. Gronkster says, hey, Jason, what's up, Gronkster? Lecter, hey, Jason, I know this is pretty out there. Considering I'm staunchly and militantly anti-alcohol, what do you think I'm about to say in response to this? What do you think of taking a shot of vodka before going for a big bench PR just to get the groove and calm the nerves? I think it should be outlawed and it should be legal. We know that'll never happen. Prohibition didn't work out too well, but in a perfect world, that's what I think. I will never advise anyone to drink alcohol. You're not going to get a situation to where I'm going to sign off and tell you it's a good idea to consume alcohol. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but I'm also not going to encourage it or endorse it. Fair? So Dingleberry says, could you please put that into plain English? Ripto is actually right, to be honest, when it comes to 25 and under, regardless of your opinion. What are we talking about? I don't understand the reference to the number 25. Could you give me the context for this number? I have no clue what the 25 stands for. I mean, I know what the number 25 means. It's, 25 of something, but I don't know what your 25 is referring to. At what body fat percentage roughly would you recommend to cut over recon 20? Yeah, dude, if you're over 20%, you need to be cutting. Unless you have body dysmorphia and need to stay lean, you're on, I'd say eat enough to train hard, but you don't need to be gaining fat. Is it okay to bench fast as possible on both the descent and on the way up? I'm not a big fan of super fast eccentrics unless you really know what you're doing. You can't be into health and fitness and consider drinking alcohol. It literally is a poison, right? It absolutely is a poison. And that's not a controversial statement. That is a biological. It is literally a poison. How fast should I bench 3 days a week on camera, Dingleberry? Watch my bench. You should be controlling the eccentrics. How low should you lower the bar when doing Romanian deadlifts? It's based upon your personal leverages. How low can you go without rounding your back? Right? How low can you personally go while keeping your back in the same position? That would generally be the answer. That's going to be largely determined by your hamstring mobility and your leverages. Now, there are people who can literally touch. Maybe they don't need to do that because you're kind of losing the perk of a RDL at that point. How fast should I bench? I mean, the concentric rep should be relatively fast, yeah, but control the eccentric. Unless, again, if we're going to talk about the merits of speed benching with bands and stuff, we could make a case for over speed eccentrics. Without bands, I'm going to question that. If you were 30 and have test levels of 217, would you consider? Okay. Consider, or would I 100% absolutely be telling my doctors right now today, if he's not giving it to me, I will go get it from Paco at the gym? I would not spend a single hour of my life willingly walking around at a 217 testosterone. I wouldn't consider it. It wouldn't even be an option on the table. If my doctor wouldn't give me a shot that day, if my blood work came back at 217, I'm going straight to the gym, finding the biggest guy there and buying a bottle immediately. I'm not waiting till tomorrow. 217, I literally would not willingly spend an entire hour at that. Right? What is wrong with you? Consider TR. It's like, what? Consider? Bro, that's not even an option. Like, that's not even not doing it immediately is not an option on the table. I'm not leaving the clinic till the doctor gives me a shot. Bro, you're not making me walk out the door at a 200 test level. Like, we're literally at, violence if he does. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It was a joke. All right, if you fail the max bench at lockout, should switch to a closed grip bench to fix it in the tricep weakness. Not necessarily. Closed grip bench could be beneficial. Anything with the triceps, because it's probably a bar path issue at that point. Again, assuming true lockout. Okay, assuming true lockout. What's your test levels? I'm not going to give my exact test levels. High normal range. I can drink moderately, can let a beer sit in the fridge all week without drinking. I don't see it as Luke, I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. I see it as a problem. Right? I see my regular flat bench with Larson press. However, I still do barbell incline religiously. Would this affect my chest development, assuming all of their training is held constant? You're doing Larson presses and lots of incline barbell. I think you can build a pretty big chest doing that personally. Right? I don't see building a big chest being a problem with that combination. After all the different training methods you have tried, what is your favorite and would you recommend? I don't know. I don't know what I would consider my favorite. Honestly, I would say what I recommended really early in my days still applies. If I had to pick one of two things for most people, okay, keep that in mind, most people, as a general guideline, either a full body or a simple conjugate split. I think one of those two would be the direction I would lean in for most people. The amount of kids with autism is terrifying. Is definitely, so it's, how do I put it? Decent, subject to a great deal of debate. I do agree it is on the rise. I just was pointing out earlier, though, we're also looking for it more. So there's going to be more diagnosed cases. Like, it's actually recognized. So you also have to factor in maybe 30 years ago, they were just weird. We just thought they were weird. Like, we didn't have an actual diagnosis. They were just socially awkward people. Now that it's being looked for, you're seeing more cases. But yeah, I do agree. Some of that is artificially inflated by possible overdiagnosis, and also being inflated because we're actively looking for it. But all of that aside, you're right. Probably still is on the rise in terms of production, and it's a lot of environmental factors. I think there's a lot of environmental toxins involved, and I think most of it probably is in utero. Right. My point was you could all have multiple goals to prioritize health and fitness, but the problem with alcohol is the cancer even at one drink a month. That's the issue. It's such a high risk, even in moderation, based upon the current data. And the other point I always point out, your exception, and hey, I'm glad that you're someone who can drink one drink and walk away. I'm glad that you're in that situation, Luke. However, what I will say to other people out there, if they've not started drinking, it's not worth the risk, would be my advice. Because no one becomes an alcoholic if they don't have the first drink. If they never take the first drink, they'll never become an alcoholic. I don't see how the risk is worth it. And I understand that you started, drinking a long time ago, whatever choice you made socially, culturally, and you appear to be, fairly resilient to addiction. Right? But that's not else. How many grams of fat would you consider a low-fat diet? How many grams do you personally consume? I don't track my macros. I don't know, low-fat. I mean, my personal numbers are irrelevant. You can go look up what dietitians consider low-fat. There's charts on it. They usually consider anything under about 20% low-fat. Diagnosis aside, it is certainly more profound these days. Acute autism would have been more apparent years ago. It seems quite normal currently. I think there's some truth to that. Hey, Deason says, Jason, how come alcoholics that drink every day for decades but quit having developed cancer at 60? Probability. It's the most carcinogenic thing we consume regularly. Hey, Deason. So here would be my question, because we're talking probabilities and risk. How come someone played Russian roulette and they're still alive if it's so dangerous? Right? I met a guy who played 2 rounds of Russian roulette. Why is he still alive if it's so dangerous? He's still alive. So if it's so dangerous, how did he survive? Right? Some people respond in different ways to alcohol for sure. Some get a dopamine response, in which case that's a different drug. Hey, Luke, and that's probably a third of the population. So you kind of see my point. If people simply didn't risk it, like I know someone right now who's never drank because their family are alcoholics and their childhood suffered as a result. They made a choice to never start because they're like, why take the risk? Right. I've never heard anything about 5G from smartphones lowering test levels. I think being fat is the number one culprit. We have pretty good evidence to support that. Obesity is real high on the list. Hey, alcohol is on that list. I think other things that we're concerned with would be way down there. I mean, environmental toxins, microplastics, real high up that list. But obesity is the number one driver of lower testosterone levels. And that's pretty well supported. In other words, telling you not to be fat, don't eat a garbage diet, take care of your body. And no one can claim there's a hidden agenda. All these medical doctors are trying to make people eat healthy and exercise. That's conspiracy, right? Understood. I just find it bizarre that some people drink for decades and eat crap food, never exercise, still going to 70, no fit people. But again, statistically, it is about probabilities, but it doesn't change the statistics. Like those exceptions to the rule, the reason you notice them is because they're exceptions to the rule, right? People win the lottery. People get struck by lightning also. They're the exception to the rule. Yep, I'm with you on it. The only reason I drink is literally to make a social connection with people. That's where it's necessarily that successful. Why do we only have 3 likes? How do we have this many people commenting and we only got 3 likes up in here? Y'all killing me, guys. Come on. That's why the stream is not getting any views. It was all the people who rolled in didn't like. Y'all pretty much killed the stream. That's like the death of it. And I know that from YouTube and Google. They're like, yeah, if people don't click like, it pretty much kills your stream. I almost should just restart it. Like, it's honestly only having that few likes. It would actually be better if I completely killed the stream and reloaded it. But they're going up. Do you do physique reviews? No, I don't really care. I mean, are you asking for do clients need me to review this? Or are you asking if you just send me a thing, am I going to review your physique? Like in public or on. I'm not really very much a physique guy. I mean, but you see testimonials from my clients. Personally, I think you need to keep proving his bad alcoholism. My friend died in a drunk driving incident. Taming, I have some pretty serious pictures. All right. That I've held off from posting. You know, some pretty bad stuff happened in my personal life recently involving a drunk driver. Yeah. And no, that's not me making stuff up. This is officially police reports everything at this point. What I just said, contrary to things haters might be saying. They made it, but they're not whole. Yeah. I was thinking of me telling you how much years and time I've spent lifting, and I'm on a good track. Yeah, I don't really do physique reviews though, per se. I mean, if you need me to do that in a consultation, I'm happy to do that and discuss stuff in a consultation. But it's not like something I do as a public service, you know. I mean, you can always post them on Facebook under a comment though, and I might respond. Some of my followers might respond on Facebook or something. I saw a picture of my late friend's accident that I lost to drunk driving too before. I've had multiple people close to me seriously injured, and I have had a really good friend was killed by a drunk driver. Myself, Damon. So I do feel you there. Like I absolutely know what you're going through. Like I firsthand have experienced that. You know, my buddy has been lifting years in decent programming, but can't make it past the 80 kilogram squat for reps without gaining weight. He trains him to stand around 70. No, I don't believe you. There's something wrong with this programming. There's something wrong with this programming. No, I'm not going to do the firearm channel at all. No, there's no plans at all. In fact, it's no longer monetized. They unmonetized the channel. It's not even paid anymore. Right. So me even making content of that nature tied to my same accounts isn't a good idea for my overall business. So no, I have no intention of getting a firearm channel going again. At least not for the foreseeable future. I seriously think you could successfully mark yourself as one of the biggest anti-alcohol influencers out there. Your engagement would blow up and it would feed. I know, but I've held off posting this stuff. I've held off. You know, but I mean, yeah. Hold on. So you guys can see stuff. There's me looking inside of a vehicle. That's me up there. Notice my bald head and my blue shirt. What's left of a vehicle? Oh man. What's left of it? Not a lot. I was thinking if could be, and that was this week. I was thinking could be recovery issues. What is achievable for squat reps is saying no. Is 70 body weight over 200 kg total? I've had a client squat 230 without sleeves, 230 kilograms without sleeves at around that body weight. So do you see the problem that I'm like, why is his body weight the problem? Okay, maybe he's not going to squat 300 kilos. Fine. But 80? Even being stuck at 100? Unrealistic. Everyone involved had insurance on. Everyone involved in that situation. I'm debating putting this stuff up and just explaining a little. I mean, it is relevant to me since I own the car. Yeah, that vehicle in question, my name is the one on the title, which is why I'm the one digging through it at the lot, because no one else could legally do so. All right. So, yeah. Do you watch the Charlie Memorial? No, I didn't. Hey, Richard, citation, please. Yeah, I don't believe in chelation. You just stop. We're not going down that kooky rabbit hole. Come on now. I'm not going there. I don't believe in some of this nonsense. And I don't think that's going to cure autism. I mean, once it's there, it's kind of there. Right? But video proof doesn't mean anything on something like that. Is there a team of medical doctors who are publicly putting this out there? But no, I did not see Charlie's memorial. No, Richard, I don't buy into that sort of alternative stuff personally. It's just not my bag. I don't believe in that sort of thing. I'm not interested. I'm not a conspiracy guy either. I'm just not. But at least the thing with the Tylenol has data behind it. And keep in mind my age and different circles I've frequented. It's not like I don't know people in real life who believe these things. So it's not like, oh, I've never heard any of this. Does it make sense? Like you're not dropping new stuff on me at all. What's your thought on the FBI saying his neck stopped at 30-6 bullet as a lifelong big game hunter? What do you mean they said it stopped it? I thought we saw an exit wound. I'm very familiar with this cartridge also. Yeah. I mean, I grew up with that cartridge. That's what my dad hunted with. That was his preferred deer hunting cartridge when I was a kid. So I'm very familiar with it. Yeah, Desmond, I think this is just nonsense. More conspiracy theories. Now, I'm surprised this one didn't get more views. What's going on? Why are we not getting that many? Oh, well. I got better views yesterday with no title. Literally nothing in the title. All right. No, they said there was an injury and the bullet was stuck in his neck. Old PA, could you send me a link to that on Facebook or Instagram, please? All right. Okay. All right. Right. Yeah. Again, there's so many crazy conspiracies out there with all this stuff, doesn't it? Again, let me be clear. I'm not a conspiracy theorist guy. I spent years of my life down every one of those rabbit holes, and I think conspiracy theorists are by and large mentally ill. I think all of it's crazy. I'm not saying there's not bad stuff in the world. I'm not saying there are not conspiracies, but by and large, these whole movements are full of just crazy people. And they just get crazier and crazier when you go down rabbit holes. So I'm not one of those people. But let me be clear, that doesn't mean that I trust government, and it doesn't mean that I trust people in power either. You got to have some common sense. You got to have a little common sense. Good people don't get into positions of extreme power. They just don't. Good people don't want power. As a general rule, kind, benevolent, empathic people don't want to be in positions of extreme power. They just don't. Right? Like if you're a genuinely good human being, you don't wake up in the morning and say, I want to rule over a bunch of other people, No, Richard, I've seen so much crazy, extreme, insane bullshit that I'm just kind of done with all of it. I'm just done. Makes sense? Again, you don't know my own history, so you don't understand where I'm coming from. I'm just like, there's a point where I'm just like, y'all are just crazy. I just don't care anymore. Just go away. I'm not trying to be mean. It's just based on I have literally had people I cared about. I watched them go down dark holes and basically ruin their lives in deep depression over crazy ass conspiracies, including literally some of the stuff you're talking about with autism was part of their obsessions, to where they pretty much quit working, couldn't support themselves, like level depression and stuff. I'm just done with all of it. Fair? Like, I just don't want anything to do with it. I don't believe in Illuminati. I don't believe in any of that stuff. That, and to get to a high level of power, you need to be willing to bend the rules, step on toes. And I think that's a point, Jay. And I think that's a fair statement when you look at people in positions of power. You don't become extremely wealthy and powerful and influential without hurting some people, breaking some rules, stepping on toes, walking over people, unfortunately. And that's just the world we live in. But we don't need crazy conspiracies for that. We can just look at people and say, yeah, dude, if you're a really powerful person, I probably don't trust you. You probably are not an extremely kind and benevolent person. You probably will stab people in the back. Right? Most was Arthur Flatter. I'm familiar with all those. I'm very familiar with those, doesn't right? What do you think of the TikTok video? I don't know what that means. Could you explain the reference? Right. You can get very wealthy by being very intelligent and hardworking, true, and lucky. And I'm referring to things like politics, high levels. Exactly. And I am too, Jay. What are your thoughts on? I don't care about fitness influencers. So here's the rule. You guys know the rule. I don't care about the existence of other fitness influencers. Now, if you have a question about a philosophy, I'll answer the philosophy. I just don't want to see references to other fitness people, because I am pretty much abandoned the whole fitness world. It doesn't exist to me. So let's just ignore whoever said it. They don't matter. They're irrelevant. Okay, fair? If you ask me about vegan gains, I'm going to say I don't even know who she is. Who? So she doesn't sound very attractive. All right, promoting full body 2 times a week for men over 40s. I don't think that's unreasonable. I was surprised. Yeah, exactly, Stephen. Normally I wouldn't, other than it hit upon one of my big topics in that. Okay, makes sense. And I said that kind of in the thing that normally I'm trying to avoid fitness people in general, but because I'm that passionate about sobriety, I'm extremely passionate about sobriety as kind of one of my pet causes here. I don't follow him. Hey, Steve, I didn't even watch the video. I told you guys that. So it was sent to me by a follower who said, in there, I know you're trying not to cover fitness stuff, but I know how you feel about sobriety. And he made a video explaining why he quit. And that was important to me. You know, the fact that it was about sobriety, and that another person who I have interacted with in the past has announced that they're sober, they quit alcohol quite some time back in their life, is better for it. And they're telling this to their audience. Well, I'm going to give a nod to that. Okay. Because irrespective of what else he does or who he is or anything else that he promotes, the fact that he's got up and made a statement like that might cause some people to stop drinking. Okay. So for me, it wasn't acknowledging fitness or his fitness content. It was acknowledging that a person who I have interacted with, who we've had banter back and forth, even in my comments in the past, who I've made videos on, have interacted out, is promoting sobriety and no longer drinks and says that his life is better for it, who has a big audience. I'm going to applaud that. Like, I don't care what else the video is about or what else he's talking about. I'm going to applaud that action. And that was the point. So to me, it wasn't about another fitness person, because I don't follow him. It was, again, an example of someone out there who I have engaged promoting sobriety, there are going to be people who quit drinking. Right? There are going to be people who quit drinking who follow him because of that. Therefore, simply making that video was an act of good. What do you mean the top 5 people that I follow for advice? Like, I'm not going to tell you which people I talk to get advice from. That's none of your business. All right. It is literally not your business who I get personal advice from. All right, next. So let's come back over to the thing. Someone asked, is the leg press a good squat accessory? It can be. So when you used to drink alcohol, did you have to space it away from training? No. Dude, I used to get drunk and get up and squat the next day. All right. Mark Bell's a great example that slingshot is way overhyped. I meant fitness advice. Oh, I don't really listen to people out there with fitness advice. Louis Simmons, but he's dead. I mean, I got a lot of lifting knowledge from Louis. So are you talking strength coaches? Did you not suffer hangovers? No, not really. I stayed hydrated. Hangovers are due to dehydration. No, I don't believe 9/11 was an inside job. And yes, I'm intimately familiar with all the discussion and documentaries going all the way back to the year after it happened in vast detail. Dank memes melt steel beams, bro. So, Jay, I'm in my 30s. I consider myself super fortunate and I've never gotten into the partying drinking scene. I agree, man. Is it necessary to do ab work to avoid imbalances? No, it can be helpful though. All right. I mean, I've learned from a variety of coaches, Steve. And I've named them all in the past. I've gone down the list of plenty of influential strength coaches. I don't need to go through all that again. We've discussed it all in detail. Does it even matter anymore? We stand on the shoulders of giants. What's your favorite ab exercise? Probably the hanging leg raise. Right? If I had to pick one ab exercise, I'm going to go with the hanging leg raise. I think it's a real solid all-around choice. Plenty of live streams, Steve. Plenty of them. However, the moment of truth. All right, double check and make sure you didn't make a new account. All right. Up. I'm not a conspiracy theorist either, but I'm a skeptical of what I'm told by the media. If you believe everything, you're naive, right? But by that same token, Richard, and I agree with that, but if your source of information is dope hippie 420 blaze it on a forum told you, you see what I mean? I don't know that he's a valid source of information either. Like if you go hang out at Above Top Secret back in the day and blaze it hippie 420 tells you, hey man, you know what they did at Building 7, man? I got this theory. Well, I don't think that's you should just believe blaze it hippie 420 either. Jay says exactly the 9/11 conspiracy stuff is deep. I knew someone who became obsessed with it, and he literally was a base. I've seen it. Right. I mean, the most influential coach for me was Louis Simmons, right? The most influential coach. But I've got other friends I've interacted with who influenced me. Clinton Darden's influenced me. I think Dan John's info has influenced me. Chris Duffin. I'd say Dave Tate has been an influence in terms of my knowledge over the years. Christian Thibodeau, who I'm also friends with. I've had conversations with several of those guys, obviously. Do you think getting jacked changes how people treat you? Absolutely. Absolutely. It impacts how people react to you, even grocery shopping or out running errands, enormously. What really happened? What do you mean, Tito? I just decided not to really make content. I have a lot of personal reasons I chose not to make any of the content. I still do some foot pictures and stuff. No, I literally, people want foot pictures or something like that. I do them, but I'm definitely not doing any graphic content. Can you keep up with younger women? Why would you think that, Dingle? You literally see my level of cardiovascular conditioning. I'm on TRT. I'm fit. What a strange question. Why wouldn't I? All right. Yeah, these people are getting weird. Sounds weird, but people have more respect for fit people than very obese, man. Yeah, absolutely. So, but let's see, Two-Tone, you clearly just made this account to troll today. Right. What is your most described progression scheme? We're not going to have a progression scheme per se. If they're an advanced lifter, we're going to progress at the rate that we can progress, which is going to be mind-bogglingly slow. I mean, to some extent, unless they had a glaring weakness that I can fix. Do you think coaches need to look the part? Notice you said coaches, not personal trainers, Alan. Right? I want you to think that through. Did you mean coaches or did you mean personal trainers? because those are not the same thing. Yeah, I think a personal trainer should probably look pretty fit for their business. Right. But coaches, so you're telling me a powerlifter coach or an NFL coach or a boxing coach, right? A coach, well, what part do they need to look? So what does a boxer, what should a boxing coach look like? You know? No, Steve, I don't. It's the same people. Hey, Steve, it's like the same three people, actually. It's not 50 people. It really is like three people. So do you see the point? So a coach usually means that you're coaching a specific performance endeavor, oftentimes sports. Coaching tends to be more performance based. So what does an NFL coach look like? What does a boxing coach look like? Well, you would hope they would, but do all athletes maintain? So when you see an NFL lineman or a strongman competitor or a super heavyweight powerlifter, do you think they appear fit? Like, do you look at that person always and assume they're super fit? Do you see the problem with the question? And this is not a knock at me because the average person thinks I look like a comic book character. Only in the internet fitness world, only in the internet Instagram fitness world do people not see me. So, like in person, like real human beings who don't follow all the Photoshop trend guys have no clue. You know, so let me be clear: I'm not basing this on myself. It's not a problem. Even if I were to go do a personal trainer, I'd have no problems there. Right? Hey, Dingo, I have no idea. Maybe med school is longer than 2.5 years. What are you talking about? I don't even understand your reference there, man. Sorry. Yeah. But Alan, I would say for coaches, they should either have really, really good experience, right? Or they should have a track record of coaching really high level athletes, right? Clarence Kinney also comes to mind. He's admitted to being enhanced, but he has videos of himself squatting 675. What exactly are we talking about with Clarence? I mean, Clarence is a legit lifter. Like, I'm not sure what our context for that is, right? But I consider Clarence Kennedy to be a legit lifter personally, right? I mean, I'm very familiar with him. No, he's the real deal. Desmond said, "Is their bot farms?" Yeah, they're just that obsessed. They are really willing to put that much in. Is it true, Jason, in the general public, people that clearly go to the gym and are well above average in that environment are super rare? I literally get stopped at the grocery store running errands, doing stuff out in public. People literally stop me, make comments, ask for advice all the time. Humans are visual creatures, so if they have an obese person tell them how to be lean and fit, they're not really believe the source. Well, sure, if you're talking about a fat person. Are you a fan of using saunas? I think saunas can be a benefit. Yeah. I think saunas can be helpful for recovery. I think they can be. I don't personally do it. I have done them in the past a long time ago. When I went to gyms that had saunas, I used them sometimes. I mean, I've had experience with saunas, and I have clients who use saunas. No, I think they can be helpful. I don't think they're like a big game changer, but I think they're helpful. I think they can be. What's up, Peppermint? This one's been slow in spite of the topic, Peppermint. It's been slow. What are you doing up this late? I would also say an elite athlete's not necessarily a good coach. Look at how Eddie Hall's trained us. That's a perfect example. I agree with that, Jay. Perfect example. Right? Case in point. So what you gonna do? Oh, I need to check Facebook. Has there been any much in there? That one's been slow. It's got viewers. There's been very little. People are hitting like, they're just not commenting on there. I got a lot of regulars who like the streams and they never comment there. They just ting the button. But it's all good. It's all good, man. Best angle for incline bench for chest. I'm going to say somewhere between 30 and 45 degrees. Do you recommend people with stage 4 cancer to lift if their doctor thinks they should? I'm going to say yeah. At least they'll have a little more quality of life. I mean, stage 4 pretty bad. Peppermint, did you see it? It never fails. Peppermint for life. He's in every stream every day. Peppermint. Somebody just asked me about Mike Minzer. Again, I can't go one day. There might not. No, Steve, most of my Facebook is literally in the USA. It's 87% of my engagements per week. 87% are in the United States. Every single time. I just get tired of repeating it. Let me see if I can do it all in one go. This is 2025. Mike Minzer is an irrelevant topic. He never trained any champions. He had no success after his retirement as a pro bodybuilder. He was a really good bodybuilder who placed second in the Olympia, had really good training at the time, but he went crazy, self-admittedly, self-medicated with methamphetamine, got hooked on meth, went crazy, wrote a bunch of crazy-ass philosophies that he admitted in his own works were based off the philosophies and writings of Ayn Rand from her book Atlas Shrugged. That was the foundational doctrine of all of his training philosophies, was Ayn Rand's book Atlas Shrugged. And then he created a bunch of crazy-ass philosophies not based on reality and chains of logic that never produced any champions. He did train one time with Dorian Yates, who allowed him to use his name. And he said in an interview, quote, because I felt sorry for him. All right. I think that pretty much sums it up. We did that in one go. That was beautiful. Bam. Did we miss any major talking points? Do we need to bring up Arthur Jones, the con man, who was basically just a machine salesman? Atlas Shrugged. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Atlas Shrugged inspired Margaret Thatcher. Yep. So he wrote a bunch of methamphetamine-fueled rants about recovery that he just completely fabricated out of thin air that have been largely debunked in modern data. And let me remind you, he never produced a single bodybuilding champion as a coach, not one, who was truly successful. I mean, you'd think with enough drugs, somebody would win something under his guidance. But, one set just isn't going to get it done. All right. I don't care how many grams of test you blast. The Atlas Shrugged sounds like a cool name for a barbell. It really does, right? I think we can all agree with that. Absolutely. Right. Sorry, I had a thing on my things. Bodybuilding is so bizarre. It really is. Right? The whole bodybuilding, it's got cray too. I was wrong, Coach. The first statement I saw was worded terribly. They went into more details as a bullet went into the neck, deflected down the spine. I could see that. And it's also going to depend. Keep in mind, 200 to 250 yards. You're going to have some slowing depending on what he used. He may have used just a hunting cartridge, like a non-boat tail, without the best ballistic coefficient. Do we know what type of projectile was used? Do we have any data on that? Have you ever considered doing strongman? Maybe, but the problem is I don't have a sense of balance because of my Meniere's disease. Could be a problem. I remember watching some Kai Green stuff years ago, and it's just so weird how they are so fixated on something no one cares about. Well, their fans care. I mean, they're making money. To be fair, Kai Green made a pretty good income from all that. I don't think it was a necessarily underpowered hand load. No, I mean, keep in mind a shorter distance hunting cartridge. Again, something flat base, you're going to have a lot more drag. It travel a decent distance. I think when we hear stuff like that, we're assuming, the best projectiles. Those of us who have been adamant shooters, and it's just not the case, right? Yeah, and the lack of safety. Strongman is definitely going to be a high injury rate, and that's stuff I have to think about too. I mean, not that I'm that worried. My concern is really all the equipment they allow to cheat, and then I think equipment itself creates problems and injuries, and that's my big issue with strongman is that it turned into equipped powerlifting 2.0. Like, if I could do one thing to change the rules of powerlifting, it would be all the equipment's got to go. Get rid of the equipment divisions, including knee wraps. A truly raw version of strongman where you're allowed to wear a belt. Get rid of all the suits, all the straps. Get rid of the sleeves. Now that'd be interesting. I'd like to see that. We ever get hefty, Jason? No, dude. In terms of weight, no, I can't. I'm too old, dude. You'd kill me. It's not worth dying for. Right. Yeah, no, definitely not a full powered rifle cartridge, not in human bone. No. Nuh-uh. Yeah. No. I don't. Did he strike you as insanely strong? I mean, he was probably worked out, but I mean, you're talking power lift level. Like his bone density being what mine was on that DEXA scan, probably nowhere near. I've never seen him squat or deadlift 500 or 600 pounds. I don't see that happening. But even then, we're still talking human bones versus 30-06. Come on, we got to be realistic here. Use a little bit of common sense. As an advanced lifter, wouldn't it be enough to just try to beat weight sets, reps, RPE? I hate RPE. Each session without any fancy programs. Well, 3 weeks of no leg training decreased my squat a little bit. Do you know who Krumster is? No idea. Just because someone's a former Marine doesn't mean that they know what they're talking about with that. One guy who could literally just be trying to drive traffic to his channel, or who could be crazy. Yeah, that's not good enough. I mean, Alex Jones had plenty of people on who had all sorts of clean backgrounds. Right? And these people say they're not held accountable, right? And they do it for, keep in mind, they're doing this on monetized platforms. let that sink in. If someone says, well, what would be their possible motive? To make money. People like money. This may come as a big shock to you. Okay, you guys ready? People like making money. They really like easy money. Right? No, I don't play video games anymore. I think they're a useless time sink. I think they reduce our productivity as men. Just personally, my opinion. I'm not telling you how to live your life, by the way. Again, Steve, my opinion, what I choose to do with my own life, I'm not telling you how to live yours. It's just my opinion. Dudes get really upset when I say that. Like, I've seen people lose their shit over me saying that about video games. Like, they flip out. All right. Richard, are we going to claim? Are we going to pretend I don't know about all the UFO conspiracy stuff? Oh man, do you know that I actually had a physical copy of The Day After Roswell by Colonel Philip Corso? I actually had a physical copy of the book at one time. Oh man, I remain unconvinced. All right. I thought it was a video game at the top of it. No, that's my painting palette. I use it. I use that box for a lot of stuff. I put it up here to set my webcam up on when I do the bike chat, so it's set there. House of Hypertrophy cited a study. I'm familiar with the study Werewolf. I am actually very familiar with the study. That study in question. I've read it. I've read that study. Probably video games are kind of addicted, and it's about a dopamine hit. It can be a time sink. Yeah. Favorite tricep builder besides closer at bench press or dips? I'm gonna go with leg extensions. Painting palette. Yes, Steve, you've never seen any of my painting? I've won awards. I've got trophies and stuff. Yeah, hold on. Hold up. You're not going to be able to see them very well through the webcam. No, I've won awards for all this. I'm not sure because I have 6 colors of dry brush in those skulls. You can't see it well at all. I have 20 hours in this one. All right. Oh my God. Bellacore, the Dark Master. Got him painted up. I've got a trophy for this one. I could probably sell this for $500 to $700 right now on eBay with close-up pictures. We got trophies and stuff. Yes, I paint. Yeah, that's paint. That's paint on the box. Yeah. I've got some other ones. I've got some close-ups of some of those on Facebook and stuff there. Do you have corn? I've got some paint. I've got some corn schemes. Yeah, hold on. All right. Yeah, I've got some corn scheme ones. Can't really see it. Yeah, you can't see it that well on here. You guys can't see the detail, all the dry brushing or anything at all. Yeah, this cam sucks. These are all painted with a corn scheme. You need the red and gold. Yeah, you guys can't see the detail when it's like there. Sorry. Let's see how the legs are doing today. How are we doing on legs? You follow a specific color pattern? No, those are my own. No, it's all done on the fly. I mean, I'll follow certain schemes for individual units like that. Like I kind of have for like all my chaos warriors, I either follow a corn scheme or I follow a black scheme. So let me show you what I mean. Yeah. So like with all my chaos warriors, it tends to be, so I either did a corn scheme or I have knights and warriors that are done. You can't see the detail. I have so much edge highlighting, you can't see any of it. Sorry, guys. I've got pictures up on Facebook. So I have this scheme. You can see the wet layering on the cloaks. You just can't see all the edge work. So that's 4 different colors of red in the cloaks. So the same thing here. So all in the arbor is an edge highlighted. You can't see any of that. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Camera quality. But same thing. These got awards. I got trophies for them. So yes, guys, we paint. I haven't played in a long time. I still don't have time. It's just I'm not playing. I still do a little painting here and there. Wherever toys, painting. Like my bro, like his ex-girlfriend came in when we were painting him one time. This is 15 years ago, right? And she comes in and goes, "It's so cute when you boys play with your little dolls. You put makeup on your dolls." It's like, yeah, coach don't play no more. Eventually, I'll do some more. So I don't have the time to deal with any of it. I have other stuff I want to invest my mental energy into rather than, playing a tabletop game. Not that it's not fun, but I enjoy the painting more than the playing, to be honest. All right, guys, we've been running this one a while. I might wind it down. We didn't get any supers. Hadn't been getting any since I got rid of what's his name, but he had to go. He used to drop onto them. Good to have hobbies. Most people don't have any, right? Well, breakfast with Blaha, no, but we do coffee. No, I will never do the breakfast again. No, as you guys know, I've said I was super awkward for me. It was not because fans wanted it. It was the most uncomfortable, awkward videos I've ever made in my life. I'd need $100 a video to do it again, minimum, paid up front. But I drink coffee in the mornings. Most mornings I sit up and do a coffee chat. No, they were not that popular. They were not the most popular segment. Yeah. They were not that popular, honestly, Steve. They really weren't. So I think it's about time to wind this down in the Facebook. All right. And I'll catch you guys in the morning. We'll have a coffee chat probably, then I'll do a workout and get a vlog up. So love you guys, and I'm out.